A rumor came out earlier today, Alex informed me of this, that Taylor Swift is expecting a proposal from her boyfriend Travis Kelce by either Christmas or her birthday, which is in next month, and it hasn't been that long. So people are talking about the possibility of her getting married, settling down, and starting a family. And they're wondering, is this going to prompt her millions of fans to do the same, because they tend to mimic everything that she does in her personal life. They fantasize about being her. They live vicariously through her. At least that's my theory. So would Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce starting a family cause a baby boom in this country?
Yes.
You believe this?
I absolutely believe it. And also people that are like, I don't care about this. I'm sick of talking about it. You should care and be excited about this relationship, because the Taylor Swift Travis Kelce relationship is bringing masculinity back. It has brought masculinity back, because what we've had is, for the last couple generations, are a bunch of young women who are pumped up on birth control, so they can't distinguish like what they're actually attracted to. And then, this is scientifically proven that on birth control, you're more attracted to more feminine men and all this kind of stuff. I think Taylor Swift ditched her birth control, and I think she met Travis Kelce and was like, hell yes, what have I been doing with these beta bitch, sickly Victorian era looking wimps?
So it was like beer goggles came off
totally
instead of going on.
I mean, a lot of women talk about this. They are on birth control for sometimes like since they were 13 years old through all of their adolescent years. Thank you. So they go off of it. Their hormones go back to normal. They're functioning again. Their chemistry is back to a healthy point where it should be. And then they're suddenly attracted to masculine men again. So maybe Taylor Swift did that. I for one, believe that Taylor Swift is still on the pill. Just because she's so dedicated to her career. She probably is contractually obligated not to get pregnant at this point. Like, with her tour still going on, I'm sure that she has, like, clauses in her contract that she cannot be, like, getting pregnant because it affects her performance.
You think there's a clause?
Yeah, I mean, if it existed for Marilyn Monroe and other stars, there's no reason it doesn't exist now.
Ooh, I never thought about that theory.
They can do morality clauses.
They own you. They own your body. They own
like that.
Everything. Yeah, so Evie Magazine put out this article, Could Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's romance spark a new era of love and family? This begs the question, what will Taylor's next move be? Will women follow suit? And this is because a certain tweet went viral saying, if Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce have a baby, it will usher in a new American baby boom as millions of 25 to 35-year-old women follow suit. Not far behind will be manufacturing, a housing boom, a tremendous lifestyle shift for millions of newly minted families, a new golden era for America.
Facts.
I think this has the potential to be the single biggest vibe shift in history.
Why are you in disbelief shaking your head?
Okay. All I'm saying is that if it takes a celebrity to get that to happen, what I would find interesting about it is it's almost like you're ignoring the fact that like they mentioned like a housing boom and stuff, right? So is the idea that these women who are working they've got their mid-level marketing job in the city, they've got their roommate, they've got their stable but not growing life until you get older and your income bracket goes higher. Like they're suddenly going to meet some dude who's like Travis Kelce. I would ask where that's going to happen.
Valid question.
Like if they're not in college, so there was also an article in Evie that was and again, this is from a guy's perspective, right? Where they're talking about this football player for, I think it was Notre Dame or some college, right?
Yes, I talked about him. Okay. I went crazy viral for saying he was hot. I was so embarrassed.
And what I find funny about this is I was reading this article, I'm like, are conservative women just realizing now that chicks like jocks?
Wait,
that was always a thing.
Who is this
because we have
player?
Been rotted. Sam Hartman, hottest man you've ever seen in your life.
I've never seen him, but why is he
Google him
famous right now? Like, what did he do?
Everyone's talking about how hot he is because I made a short that I thought was like going to be a blip on the radar, and it has like freaking 60 million views. And so then everybody now is talking about Sam Hartman.
So we've been spending the last 20 years trying to figure out what the hell's going on with the problems with the sexes, declining birth rates, like stagnant wages, and all it takes is Taylor Swift to get knocked up by a jock, and suddenly America's right back on.
How are you not on board? How are you not on board?
I'm not saying I'm not on board. I'm saying I'm skeptical that it would have the effect that you're saying.
How are you skeptical? Because everywhere she has been on the Eras Tour, the economy has just exploded. It has been her Eras Tour has like single-handedly helped the economy. It's been the only thing really all year.
Well, I mean, I think Brett's point is if we need a celebrity to lead women's lifestyle choices in a better direction, it's like there's already no hope.
Well, true, but it is what it is.
Then, what the hell do you do when she gets divorced?
I can't talk about it.
According to the likelihood of celebrities staying married.
Well, let me tell you what my biggest concern
likely.
is.
Yeah.
My biggest concern with them is that, so she's at the peak of her career, and pop stars, it's not like it's amazing, but you can be a pop star for your whole life basically till you die. I mean, Madonna's still going at it, Cher's still going at it. So like her career, there's not really an end point yet on Taylor Swift's career, right? Travis Kelce, however, being, a superstar in the NFL, typically they retire in their 30s. He only has like a few years left, essentially. And so what's going to happen to him mentally and emotionally going through, saying goodbye to the best time of his life, a career that he loves. And I'm not saying he's never going to be anything again. He'll probably transition to being a commentator with ESPN or something. Right. But essentially, he will go from them being equals in their relationship, both at the top of their game in their respective fields, to he's like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life kind of thing. And that's going to be a huge hardship that I wonder if either of them have thought about while they're still in this honeymoon phase. Because that's in a couple years.
It's very well documented that athletes struggle once they leave professional sports because of all the discipline it takes to do while you're doing it. That transition over to essentially civilian life is very, very difficult for a lot of them. Especially, he's done pretty well. Granted, I'm not I just know that the dude has monetized his name and likeness very, very well.
To Pfizer and Bud Light.
With brand deals and podcasts and other such shows. He seems to be more business oriented than somebody who's a fly-by-night who isn't going to save his money and do well. But I do think it both kind of proves our point about the importance of pop culture, even if conservatives pretend like it isn't, and makes me a little bit sad that it would take a celebrity like Taylor Swift to get women to turn around on the idea of marriage. It just makes me a
and then
little
what
bit sad.
happens to the idea that men should lead the charge on things like this?
Like as alpha male as he is, she's still like, so is the idea here that they're going to be willing to now settle down with strong alpha male personalities who make less money than them? Because it's never going to be in effect a thing for her relationship, because she's always going to out-earn whoever she's with because she's so wealthy. But in most relationships, women look for men to be the breadwinners.
That's true. But what's a different dynamic, a little bit of a shift for her historically with her different relationships, is that every guy she's been with, at least pieces of the puzzle that we're able to put together as a public, obviously, the reality could be different, but from the public side, it seems like she has pursued every guy she's been with. So like
aggressively, psychotically.
Well, I don't know about that, but like she's been at the Met Gala and like hit on them. You know what I mean? Like she has in her music talked about, like, it seems to me like she makes the first move, where Travis, he pursued her. He had a crush on her. He went to her concert. He was hoping to meet her. He made a friendship bracelet, which is like an inside joke with her fandom that you trade friendship bracelets that you make at the show.
I'm not gonna lie, that gives me the ick.
No, Mary!
Continue.
He puts his phone... Did you all not know this?
I knew about the bracelet thing.
Did you know this?
I didn't know this.
Okay, so he makes a friendship bracelet and with beads puts his phone number on there, and he had a plan that he was going to give it to her in person. What he didn't know is that at this tour, compared to her other one, she doesn't do meet and greets before and after because she's singing for like 24 hours straight, and so she can't, use her voice or waste her voice or whatever. So she doesn't do meet and greets. So he didn't get to meet her, and he says on his podcast, I had a friendship bracelet I wanted to give her with my phone number on it. I'm kind of sad. She hears about it. She thinks that's so cute that he pursued her, and so she has her team reach out and is like, hey, like, Taylor thought that was really cute. Like, let's meet up, let's go to dinner or whatever. And so that's how it got started. But she never has had a man act like a man. She's, dating Harry Styles and stuff, who wears dresses and paints his nails. Like, this is so different. And then what I'm seeing, because I'm in the Swiftie fandom, are all these girls on TikTok and Twitter, and they're like, oh my gosh, like, I'm feeling things for a football player and the manly men again. Like, I didn't know, like, I would think a guy like this, like a jock, was so hot. It's true. Gen Z girls, like young girls, they're into these little beta boys. This is a culture shift, this relationship.
So you think that because Taylor's, we talked about it yesterday, the demographic breakdown of Taylor Swift audience, which is still heavily millennial,
and white and liberal.
No, it was what, 50? We looked at it. Yeah, we looked at it yesterday. It wasn't actually.
I don't
like it was
exactly.
more. It was more even than I was surprised by it. Let me see if I can figure it out.
But she's
here.
like
55% are Democrat, 23% Republican, and 23% are independent. 45% of her audience are millennials, 23% are baby boomers, 21% are Gen X, and 11% are Gen Z. So you need to get that Gen Z.
But that Gen Z
up.
audience is making all of the TikToks and the posts that you're seeing, so it's overrepresenting who
That's true.
the amount that makes up her fan base.
Yeah.
But I said that I think all of these girls are living vicariously through Taylor Swift's dating life because dating is so depressing now that they would rather like live in that fantasy world.
Yeah, I
it's like a perfect rom-com.
I don't know if it translates. We do a lot now because of social media and because of the way we consume content nowadays. Celebrities, we're looking at them kind of through a looking glass, right? And I think what ends up happening more than anything is it turns into a spectator sport more than actually influencing them and their dating choices. I could be wrong, but what I think would be a downside is they're like, okay, but she has this guy who comes to her concert and gives her a friendship bracelet. I got to get my ass on these lame apps and then be disappointed by a bunch of people on these dating apps. I think reality ends up being a little bit harder to, hits them a little bit harder than the fantasy of her life, which is still heavily curated and created by a social media team and a bunch of people who love her and want to portray her in the best light possible. And I think that type of reality might actually hurt more than they realize if it ends up happening. Though I would love to see the birth rates go up and to see all of these women find true happiness. I just think that the real world is a little bit more in the middle.
Right.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think that these girls in her like Gen Z audience though would have a much easier time actually finding love than Taylor Swift because they're younger, they don't have as much baggage attached, they don't have fame, they don't have
$1 gazillion tour.
$1 gazillion.
Well, a gazillion dollars worth of commitments with work and
commitments
stuff like that.
and everything. So they actually, without knowing it, have better chances of finding love and finding a traditional masculine guy than she would.
There is 20 years, 30 years of propaganda to telling them that him holding a door for her and walking on the right side of the street is bad. There's 20 to 30 years, if not more, of college level collegiate feminist propaganda telling them that they are strong, independent women that don't need no man.
Woman.
And they don't need help from anyone. And it's almost like it would be their natural instincts that the feminism has been suppressing for so long, fighting against a whole crap ton of indoctrination. As a spectator sport, I find it kind of interesting.
Well, you know
but
what?
That's a little bit nihilistic.
I was reminded of how much Taylor and Travis is like, it is like exact copy of the Beckhams.
We got a $20 super chat here from Joshua French. Says, I was listening and thought I heard Jackie from that 70s show. To my surprise, a smarter and more beautiful version is on.
Do you get that comparison a lot?
My entire life have been told I sound like Mila Kunis.
Okay.
Okay.
It's I think it's really funny, but it was funny because most people would say, why does she sound like Meg from Family Guy?
Because Meg from Family Guy is played by Mila Kunis.
Is voiced by Mila. So that's what I get most of the time is Meg.
I didn't even know which. I've never watched that 70s show, so I was like, is that the Laura Prepon character or is that the Mila Kunis character?
It's Mila, but yeah, it's my voice, I guess. So I think it's funny to be called Meg, though.
But he says you're more beautiful anyways. So.
Thank you. Well, I wish.
So they're like the Beckhams, you said?
Yeah, so I don't know. Did you guys see that? It's really good. That really short miniseries on Netflix called The Beckhams, all about
heard about it.
his career.
We talked about the clip where
Just that
he puts her
viral
in
one
and-
where he calls her out about lying about her privilege.
It's a fantastic miniseries, and almost none of it is about their relationship. It is mostly about his soccer career or football career. But there's a little bit about their relationship, and it is exactly like Taylor and Travis. It's like this huge pop star meets athlete, superstar relationship, and the paparazzi and how the public is so obsessed and invested in their relationship. But I mean, they got married. They're still married. I think they definitely hinted there being infidelity at one point when he was in Spain playing. But they've still stayed together, had multiple kids together. I don't know. Maybe Taylor and Travis will kind of be them. I also, during Halloween, I had a theory that they were going to dress as the Beckhams. I thought that we were going to get a picture of them in a famous Beckham outfit, but they didn't ever post what they dressed up as. But he hosted a Halloween costume dinner party at his house that she came to, and they dressed up as something, but they never posted publicly what it was. So I wonder if it was the Beckhams. That was my theory.
Are there any other couples that you see similarities between them?
Definitely not Will and Jada.
No.
My least favorite.
No.
I loathe Will and Jada.
Have you been covering that?
Yeah, I've talked a lot about them and absolutely despise. I think Jada Pinkett Smith is like an evil, evil woman. Like as evil as they get.
I think we're on the same page there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like horrible person.
She does very good at making people dislike her. She's like a master at that.
But that's the thing that's so it infuriates me is like there's so much evidence and the public would totally support Will being like, F her, I'm so over this, like she sucks, this has been the worst marriage ever. Everyone would support him. But he always defends
Will.
her.
She despises Will because of his inability to do that.
And that's what it is. It's like she
So how
crushes
can we
him like a
really
bug.
blame her? She hates him because he won't step up and be a man and stand up for himself. So
And he still defends her. He just like takes it up the ass every time. She
women
like,
hate men they
humiliates
can't
him.
respect.
He might have a humiliation kink. That's
Maybe.
like, it might be that because I don't understand any man that would put up with that. But she reminds me of Yzma from Emperor's New Groove,
Yeah, I remember that character.
Like always plotting.
He recently had a rumor spread about him that he hooked up with Dwayne Martin in a dressing room.
Yeah. And didn't he get very upset about that or something? Or his team?
They denied it, and Jada said, "We suing."
We
So
suing.
we'll see if that goes anywhere.
How do you save this? How do you save the next generation of women then, and get everybody married and having kids? If you could solve the problem, if they came to you right now, the new world order that Alex Jones is trying to destroy.
There are going to be stragglers. You can't save everybody.
But I mean, by saying that there could be a new baby boom, it admits that there's a crisis beyond just some
Sure.
people. It means that there's a lot. So if there is a crisis, I mean, this happens a lot. We kind of deal with a weirdly two competing narratives that are kind of always at battle, which is that the left, as much as I hate to kind of generalize, when people say death cult, they're not lying. They're saying the world is overpopulated, stop having kids.
Murder your kids if you do have
Climate
them.
change is going to kill everyone anyways, so don't have kids. And then you have someone like Elon Musk who says, like, we are in a birth collapse. We're in a collapse of birth rates right now. The West is not reproducing. We're under replacement rates time and time again. How do you solve that? Because it can't be solved through policy. It has to be solved through culture.
Yeah, so it is solved through culture. And I just had a guest on the Spillover, my podcast recently, who said a really good quote that I liked. He kept saying truth and time go hand in hand. So like the truth always comes out essentially. And I think right now, so, Roe was just overturned. The feminist movement essentially has had like a little bit over 50 years to do their little experiment on women and tell us like, these are the things that are going to make you happy. Have sex like a man. Don't get married. If you do want to have a family, put your career first over that family. Have your family later. Attempt to have children in your, 30s, 40s, as opposed to earlier, or don't get married at all, et cetera, et cetera. Be promiscuous. Get on birth control, which is rotting your mind and your body. All of this stuff. Now we've given them 50 years to try this experiment. It has obviously failed.
Happiness rates have plummeted.
Yeah, like anxiety, depression skyrocketed. You have all of these now. So my generation, the millennial generation, the girl boss movement was huge. And so all of the millennials who are now hitting their late 30s, early 40s and skipped having a family to pursue a career are all coming out in droves saying this was a mistake. I wish somebody would have talked to me about this. So that's, I think, showing Gen Z, oh, I don't want to make you always look at the generation before you and you're like, well, what mistake did they make? I don't want to do the same thing. And I think they're seeing millennials be really, really unhappy.
Yeah. Do you think that this is the type of thing that can be solved in the next generation?
I don't think that it can be, it's not going to be solved within the next generation, but I think that we're seeing positive steps be taken. Like we are seeing women totally ditch birth control and stuff. This is apolitical. This is not, you know,
Gen Z women are
thing.
leading that charge.
Yes.
I think like you're not going to solve the issue in 10 to 20 years, but they're conscientious objectors.
And you're seeing, okay, so here's something interesting. So Seattle, the school district of Seattle, they have noticed this year that they've had 60,000 students not sign up for enroll in public school. They're going to have to close a bunch of different public school campuses in Seattle. They're seeing homeschooling has risen like over 50% in the Seattle area. So what I'm saying is like homeschooling is on the rise. Getting out of government schools is going up. You know, people opting maybe not to go to college is going up. I think the pandemic really showed that. Like you don't necessarily need to go. A lot of people just dropped out because of the pandemic and didn't go back. So you have that working for us. Also, I've been talking a lot about this, and the spillover is when it comes to healthcare for women and stuff, like as far as like labor and delivery, birth, you know, home birth, staying out of the hospital system that lies to women about what's best and kind of putting like their needs, like doctors putting their schedules above women and telling you like, we're going to induce you, we want you to have the baby now, blah, all this stuff. Basically women, what I'm trying to say is that women are waking up to a whole bunch of lies that we have been told, and most of those go hand in hand with a more conservative leaning lifestyle. And so Gen Z is noticing this stuff, but all of this is cultural, none of it is political. And so that's why I'm like, well, we see a lot of young women saying I'm going to vote Democrat, and yet their eyes are being opened to all these cultural lies. So my thing, and this is what I told Charlie Kirk on his show recently, was that if we keep focusing and hammering all these cultural lies that women have been told and we leave politics out of it, we just say, well, was this true? Did this end up being true that you were told by the feminists? No. Was this true? No. This true? When they realize that all of that stuff was a lie, they will have no choice but to say, well, what else have I told that's a lie? That's when they start to get red pilled and start to understand
if you want to call
conservative.
It that, yeah.
Well, yeah, not in that
Yes.
sense, not the dating sense.
I think that's going to be very hard institutionally. Just look, I think a big red flag right now is women's sports and the inability to get biological men out of their spaces.
That's true. We're failing on that.
There's an issue with, I guess, but that goes hand in hand. Like what the issues you're talking about are personal ones, but as soon as other people get involved,
if
and
it's
you start to deal with-
institutional,
it's institutional, and then it leans into the agreeable nature that women have.
Yep.
It'll be easier to change your own behavior than to change behavior that involves the presence of others, because women tend to fall on that more agreeable scale right there. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.